Greetings, folks. Nice to see you. My name is Dustin Cormier. Welcome to Erotic Astrology. Today we're going to be talking about Mars in Libra with the Sun in Taurus. An interesting combination. These two both being ruled by Venus. So there's a mutuality going on there, which is for better or worse. If Venus is well placed, this combination is doing great. If Venus is not well placed, then both of these the Venus, which both of these planets are leaning on here, is getting thrown into the dumps, frustrating Mars and unnobling, making the Sun less noble. This can be a very materialistic sort of person, very sensuous and material and earthy on the Taurus's end, but also airy and aesthetic. Venus in the cerebral sense. So it's a lot of Venus. They can feed off each other positively again. This is probably going to end up being a good combination. We're going to talk a little bit about it in different ways. If you'd like, check out my Mars in Libra video just to see the pure sexual nature of Mars in Libra, aside from including the sun sign, Taurus here, right? Mars in Libra is Mars in Libra. I like to say this first. Mars in all the air signs asserts itself through the expression of ideas, through active communication, and energetic imagination. The earthy part of Taurus might not want to say everything all the time because the Earth Sun likes to be tasteful. Doesn't want to have to communicate all the time. So Taurus, being ruled by Venus, is going to deeply values finding a partner who gets them, who doesn't need too much communication for its own sake. But this Mars coming through Libra is going to be a much more vocally active Taurus who does say what it likes, who does encourage things in the bedroom, sexy things, talking. But at the same time, it's like they want to communicate it. And the Mars can be aggressive and actually directly communicate it, but they would be really turned on and energized by someone who does enough of a communication to get I see what you're saying, baby. And then like someone who goes for it, for what they feel. Although it's funny because with Mars and Libra, it's like, I want you to do this. And it's funny because they have their own hand in it. The Taurus saves this person because Taurus is very close to Aries. Sun is close to Aries here. The king is thinking of its own interests, which is a good thing for the king to do. So they're not like, they're strong and confident in themselves. They're heavy. The Taurus rolls its shoulders back and doesn't demean themselves too much. Although, even if this is a guy or a girl, Taurus Sun can be very not submissive, kind of. They're not as tough, manly. They're a symbol of femininity in a certain way. Although girls, a lot of women will just fall in love with the Taurus from an early age, just from the way they are, the uncomplicated. They seem to have like a dark depth, like a depth going on. But when you talk to them, they're actually very simple and uncomplicated. Not simple in a bad way, but they don't complicate their brains. They want to just have whatever's good. That's why they can plod along, is because they know what they're doing and where they're going. The Mars in Libra here will keep that side of the Taurus character enjoying itself through communication, through, Mars in air signs, again, their energy is stimulated by mental challenges, social activism, relationships, and new ideas. And so is the Sun in Taurus here. They're both ruled by Venus, although this is like I said, it's Mars in air signs that enjoys the cerebral energeticness. It adds a little energy to Taurus, if anything, which can be very sensuous and just in its own little place, looking for a come hither, Taurus has this come hither to me thing. The Taurus ego loves when you're getting off on it, because this is a sun in a good place. It's a good thing for the sun to do. And the Mars in Libra here will communicate it effectively. This is what I'm turned on by, and you should cater to that in me. But they'll also do it for them too, because Libra is diplomatic. But there's always an ironic pushiness in this diplomacy because Mars is in the sphere of Libra. I digress. That's just my own little sort of spin. Let's get a little bit sexy here. Let's talk about the turn-ons and turn-offs of Taurus Sun with this Mars and Libra in mind, right? So Taurus is arguably one of the most sensuous signs in the zodiac. You thoroughly enjoy the one-on-one aspect of a romantic relationship and the affection and intimacy it provides. Again, a lot of these that we see for Taurus, the Sun in Taurus, we're going to think of and feel for Mars and Libra because they're both ruled by Venus. Not always the same. In private, Taurus Sun makes an intense bedmate, one who is happy to have the sensual encounters continue all night long. Sexually, Taurus is the energizer bunny of the zodiac. You thrive on unhurried nights of love play, liberally punctuated with amorous conversation, erotic fantasy, and an occasional indulgence in food and drink. These are all things that Mars and Libra jives with too, except Mars and Libra has its eye on the feeling that the environment was refined. Sun in Taurus, for its own sake, if Mars is not well placed or whatever, or especially if Venus is not well placed, this Sun in Taurus can just be happy to just like it's still a good place. It values things deeply, but Taurus can get just suckered in by somebody thinking that they're hot. Taurus just loves when someone is amorous to their face and their nature and their body and their personality, and Taurus will go for whoever comes right up and is most aggressively after them. But everybody, while Taurus can wallow in the shallow end of a relationship and just enjoy sex for its own sake, they're materialist people. It's not a bad thing. Anything in the extreme can be bad, but if it's part of your nature and you keep the wheel spinning and it charges you forward, then rock and roll. But the Sun in Taurus is more about the material enjoyment, the wine for its own sake, and this also even helps with their character. Sun in Taurus will probably find they value the bones of the character of a person, whereas the Mars in Libra, so again, the Sun in Taurus can just be fascinated by someone just loving them, just loving in an ego way. Not loving them, but I mean admiring them is more the word I'm thinking of. The Mars in Libra here is more turned on by, not only are you turned on by me, but you've got to be a bit of a catch yourself. You've got to be refined and elegant. So the Mars in Libra is more into the atmosphere at a cerebral level, the lighting, the romance, the care that the person takes to have these delicious moments. And this is one Taurus who will do all those little details and hope that the partner's excited about it before they settle in and do the Taurus come to big daddy thing or come to hot mama, whatever it is. The bull craves a partner who is loving yet strong and practical. The suitor who arrives bearing gifts and kind words easily wins the Taurus Sun heart. Since Taurus is responsive to both material goods and heartfelt compliments. Making you feel safe and secure is a smart strategy for any potential lover. What you want most is to live in a comfortable world and have a special someone to share it with. That's definitely the Taurus ego. The Taurus mind. I don't mean ego in a bad way. It's the Taurus personality. One-night stands are not your style. You regard lovemaking as an art. And when you go to bed with someone, it's to make love, not to have sex, per se. Elegant surroundings, sensuous perfumes, silky fabrics, soft music, and sex play involving delectable delicacies, such as whipped cream or chocolate. These are all guaranteed turn-ons, the senses combined with the heartfelt affection. You particularly enjoy being kissed around the neck and throat, and having your skin gently stroked sets your whole body on fire. For you, making love is a process that inevitably involves wooing and protracted foreplay. Luxury loving and pleasure oriented, you take your time in bed. Your ideal lover moves in slowly, savoring every moment, and builds gradually to a powerful climax. Now, this might be the type of person, the Mars in Libra here might be looking at every little moment and seeing, like, with their picture camera eye, looking at the hotness of the aesthetics of the bodies, the human bodies coming together, the physical interaction in general of the touching, and especially light touching. Taurus is already like that, but the Mars in Libra doubles it up. And it's the mental intention in Libra that's different from Taurus. If this was Sun in Taurus with Mars in Taurus, it would be very earthy, and this build up to a peak would be even more. The peak would be a very physical orgasm experience. With Sun in Taurus, Mars in Libra, it's Venus, and the same attitude of, like, the sensitivity is brought to it, but it's all throughout the performance is these little bits that they try to enjoy as they build up to the Taurian dream time, sleepy sex build up, which Taurus likes all the in-betweens as well, but Taurus has this agenda to build into these waves. And Mars in Libra is more refined, seeking all the beauty in the whole thing. It's kind of, like I said, it's a good combination. Especially if Venus is well placed. When Venus is not well placed in this combination, the Sun doesn't find fulfillment in a person. They probably just are satisfied to just get whatever makes them feel good, and that's not really fulfilling. It's just getting off what they need to do in order to keep living life. Sun in Taurus just needs to do their job thing. They need security. And if this person's going to do it, I'm going to do whatever I have to do just to make you stay. It's not going to be all that fulfilling for either of us, but it'll definitely get us through so I can go to work in the morning. And the Mars would have the same lack of energy and enticement towards it. Although they would do things, I'll remember your birthday, baby. I'll remember that we got to do that thing at 5 o'clock on Thursday with the doctor. Believe me, I remember it because I got Mars in Libra. But if Venus isn't well placed, then it won't be fulfilling. Because these two planets lean on the Venus. Truth be told, it probably will pretty good because this is still kind of the Sun. Venus never goes too far from the Sun. So this could be in Cancer. Venus doesn't do well in Cancer. It gets starved and it's hungry and for fulfillment. And this sensuous combination can never get enough when Venus is in Cancer. Venus is in Gemini is good. Venus in Taurus is good. Even Venus in Aries and Pisces are good. It's Cancers would be the worst of all those for Venus in this combination. Venus in general is not that great in Cancer. I digress. Now we're going to read a combination of the Sun in Taurus with Mars in Libra. Despite your practical and down-to-earth nature, you crave both passion and romance in the bedroom. For you, one of the best things about an intimate relationship is the shared experience of exploring your physical senses through sexual contact. Exploring your physical senses through sexual contact. When you find Mr. or Mrs. Right, you're capable of remaining loyal and committed to the end. However, because of your romantic idealism, problems may arise regarding the way a close union should function. Right? Because there's again, Mars being in the sphere of Libra, it's got a pretty good sense of how this relationship should go. Believe me, I understand it, baby. And again, if their Venus is well placed, then they might attract a lover who appreciates that, and it could be a good thing. But if their Venus is ill placed, then they'll just grab whatever lover is going to come their way, and they might just say, you know, like, look, so we're together, and we need each other. This person is kind of like this. They can use their partner because they lean so heavily on it for their Sun energy and their Mars energy. So they just grip whoever they can, and when they do, this Mars pushy, this is how this relationship should go attitude can be a little bit much. But it's nice if Venus is well placed and these two planets are good. You might attract a lover who appreciates that you're taking the time to delegate how we ought to be, to think about how we ought to best relate. It's not a bad thing, right? Inherently. So anyway, that was fun. Hope you guys dug that. Hope this helps enrich your sex life and love life. I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Astrology. See you guys on the next one.